Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today on the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. Hi, my name is Dr. Davia Shepherd, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about our recent Ladies Power Lunch retreat. We host our retreat on celebrity reflectionships, and so we are going to talk a little bit about what the experience was like, how we liked being in and it's going to be a really wild ride. I have here with me today a very special guest, somebody who was on retreat on the last Ladies Power Lunch retreat, Mary Kerwin, and she's going to share her experience with us. Plus, she's going to tell us a little bit about her business. She's going to share with us what she does, how she does it, and she's going to give us a little background about how we can live our optimal life. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, my name is Dr. Davia Shepherd, and just a little bit of background, if you're just catching this show for the very first time, then absolutely welcome. And so glad you're here. But also, where have you been? I host a women's group. In addition to hosting this show, I host a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch. And before we dive into our show, I just want to give a little shameless plug for Ladies Power Lunch. Ladies Power Lunch is an amazing place. It's a place where women in business, and we're talking about all kinds of women in business, women in small business, women in bigger business, women who might be entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, or they might be a nonprofit or in corporate life, or some of our members are even retired. But what holds us together, that glue that keeps us being this amazing group, is that we really, really have come to realize that when women support each other, everybody wins. And so we're all here supporting each other. So there might be something that you're struggling with in your business or in your personal life, that there's somebody in our group who's already done that, who's already been there, done that, bought that t-shirt, and she's willing to hold your hand and help you through that tough time, show you her process that might be exactly what you need to move to your next level. So my invitation to you is come join us. It's 100% free. Just go to growsmarter.com/Facebook, and that's where you'll find an amazing community of like-minded women ready to be in support of you and your dream. All right, on with this show. So, like I said, our special guest today is Mary Kerwin, and she was on retreat for the Ladies Power Lunch retreat for spring of 2024. Mary, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of this group.
Awesome. We're happy, happy, happy to have you. So, Mary, can you share with everybody? Tell us a little bit about who you are and the amazing work that you're doing in the world.
So, hi everyone. As Dr. Davia said, I am Mary Kerwin. I am a mother to four incredible grown children, and I am a doting grandmother to two, who I have shared care for. I've also been a decades-long classroom teacher and turned parent coach, and I'm on a mission, and the essence of that mission is to help children by empowering, supporting, and guiding their parents. And the name of my company is Confident Families. I've been
That sounds really, really great. Tell me a little bit. It's a very unique area for you to be committed to. And so tell me the story about how you came to be doing this work.
sure. I can't remember growing up not wanting to be a teacher. I mean, that was my dream. I had my dream job. I was in the classroom for over 40 years. So and I reluctantly retired. I mean, it was time, I guess, but I didn't think it was time. There were the writings were on the wall, and so I reluctantly retired, and I went to use my health coaching certification. And my goal was to help moms who were taking care of everybody else and not taking care of themselves. And and so that's what I did for a few months. And I was at a networking event, and you do your pitch, and I stood up in front of the group and I said, "Hi, my name is Mary Kerwin, and I'm a certified holistic health coach." No, I'm not. I'm a teacher. I help parents and kids, and that was the transition. It just came organically out of me. It was just something I truly believe in, that these kids need to know their worth and know how wonderful each one of them is, and let whatever light they have and shine instead of holding it back because of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, must do's, and not do's. And I think that every parent is the best parent for their child, and they just need a little extra support or help, to trust their own instincts confidently, because a confident parent has a confident kid. And each child is unique, as is each parenting and each family. And I think that we need to bring that out more. There's a lot of do this, don't do that in parenting. There's a lot of new terminology for parenting, gentle parenting, quiet parenting. And I think that they all have merit, but it has to work for you and yours.
So tell me a story about a particular situation. Of course, we will protect the innocent with no names, but tell me a story about a particular situation where your unique set of skills was really helpful for a family that needed what you offer.
Okay, pick one.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know it's always hard to pick one because you do so much for so many. But what's one story that would kind of give us a really good idea of how beneficial this work is, why the world needs this?
Okay, what should I call? I'll call him Jim. That wasn't his
Okay,
name. Jim
that's
was
a nice name.
Jim. Jim was an 11-year-old boy, and his mother was a single mom. I'll call her Judy, and I hope I remember these names because that's
Jim.
Jim and Judy. So Judy was, and Judy, they loved each other. They did everything together. They grew up. But when he turned 11, 9-year-old to 11-year-old boys start to change, attitudes change, and girls. I don't want to put it all on boys, but his mom was having a very hard time with the change, and it was really fracturing their relationship. They were constantly at odds with each other. Um, and so she called me to work with him privately. But working with him privately, I realized that you need to work with both of them. And so we would talk and we would talk, and he was on the spectrum, so I helped him with a bunch of other things also. But I would be the I don't want to say mediator, but I would be the go media. I'll say mediator between he and his mom, so that she would see where what she was saying and doing was triggering him, and he would see what he was saying and doing that was triggering her, and to just reframe things for them. And that sounds simple, but it's not as simple as it sounds. So that they developed a way of openly and actively listening to each other, so that they could respond in a way that was helpful and beneficial to both of them. And it was a nice thing to see. My goal is to for them not to need me anymore. Basically, my goal is to give them the skills and the strategies that they need and to work with, so that they don't need me there. Although we always remain friends.
So who are the folks that you would say they would benefit the most? Like if they could work with you, it would change their lives.
If for the parents, for the mostly moms, I'll say moms, mostly moms, but there
Mhm.
was a few brave dads, but mostly moms who are constantly second guessing themselves, constantly feeling, so that they are sending mixed messages to the kids. For the parents who are not, who are holding on to a idea that isn't working in their family, and they don't know how to change it. For the parents who are feeling like they're failures
Hmm.
when they're really not. There's a lot of the parents, I'm messing up my kid. I did this. I messed up my kid for their lives. To help them to trust their own instincts and give them the strategies and skills and some practical solutions, so that they can feel better about what they're doing. To help them to connect to their core values and know that that's important in raising your kids.
Yeah. the your background is being an educator. You are coming at this from a life coaching perspective. When you look at the world in general, if you, Mary, I ask this question of pretty much everybody who hops onto the show, if you could just reach your arms around the world and just share one thing with all of us, what's that one thing that you wish we all knew?
To know your value, to trust your instincts, and to know your core value.
Mhm.
If you come from a place like I sometimes call it your true north. If you come from a place that's your true north, and you go from there. But we have so much stuff being thrown at us that a lot of people don't even know what their values are, or they think that their values are misguided. True north, true values are not misguided. They speak to who you are as a person. Um, and and knowing them and trusting your instincts will move you forward. But not only will have you act in a way that empowers you, that builds your confidence, skills like, and know that, and know that not everyone's going to agree with you, and know that not everything's going to work out. You're gonna fall on your face probably more than once, but you can pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try it again. That resilience, to build resilience in yourself. And it's a little bit of a world where that's been thrown away. Like, you make one mistake and it's a terrible thing. We're not allowed to make mistakes. And school kids are not allowed to make mistakes. They get graded on everything, and then they're moving forward because we're not technically educating them. We're really just giving them information. And it's all about scores and, the money. The schools are getting money because their scores are high, and then the teachers are getting jobs because the schools are getting money. But to go back to actual hands-on learning, which means things are going to go wrong.
So I love your suggesting that we trust ourselves a bit more, that we trust our instincts. And I'll share a story with everybody. When I was much younger, I had very good instincts, very good intuition, but it feels to me like over the years, it's sort of been pushed out of me little by little, just kind of worn away. And so after a while, you get to a stage where you're like, this is what I'm feeling is the right thing, but I'm so unsure. And so we end up in a situation, especially for women in business, where a lot of the people who are watching the show, we end up in a position where we lack clarity because we are so divorced from what our true north is. If you were to give us a little bit of homework, something to do so that we would come back to who we are and come back to trusting ourselves, what's one thing that we could do starting today just to try to get better at being clear and hearing ourselves?
One thing is to really reflect upon, write down, and study your core values,
Mm-hmm.
and really understanding that they're yours and not something that somebody says you should do, you shouldn't do. Like, to really get to where you are introspectively seeing what's important to you. And actually, it's not on here, but I can, if someone wants to once a sheet where they can do that, an exercise where they can do that, if they email me at hello@confidentfamilies.com, hello
Mm-hmm.
at confident families, I will send them, and just put core values in the subject matter. I will send an exercise where they can do that.
Tell us a little bit about the worksheet.
The worksheet just has a whole list of core values, and that you might not think of. That they're the easy ones are, but it just has a whole array of them where you could pick them out, and then questions are asked about it so that you can see if it's truly sits right with you, or if it's just something that's on the surface, if it's really intrinsic to you.
So this worksheet actually helps you to drill down to to get back to basics, to figuring out what exactly are your core values. What do you believe in? And then once folks are able to establish those values, what happens next for
Well,
them?
once you realize that, and in your decision making process, and this is almost for everything, you can when you're not feeling right about it, it's easier to recognize because you've done the introspective work. The introspective work is the hard work to do, as with anything, knowing yourself. It's easy to spout anything, but it's harder to look within yourself.
I love that. I feel like there's an opportunity to have you come back on the show and we can really dive more deeply and talk some more about how we can get back to owning what our true values are and learning that. But I think it's so important that the work that you're doing is with children because you're nurturing this in the next generation. And that's really key to the thing I talk about all the time, doing what you do so you light people up and they light people up and on it goes to make the world a better place. When you're talking about children, that is so outstanding to me.
That's our future. I really, it's been my mission. It's been my mission for I guess forever. And I when I first started, it was actually confident kids now, because I
Mhm.
only work with kids. But then COVID happened, and at the urging of some of my clients and other people, I moved to parents, and it's
Mhm.
actually what I did in my classroom the whole time. I worked with families. I didn't just work with kids. I worked with families, and yeah.
That's
It
beautiful.
lights me up. It lights me up.
That's beautiful.
I can get lost thinking about it.
I love that. I love that. And it's so refreshing. I love having folks on the show because it's so refreshing to see people really living their passion, really having something that they feel so excited about, so confident about, something that they know is going to be helpful for others, something that's going to help the world be a better place. That's what we all need. We all need to find what that thing is for us so
Absolutely.
that we can give it our all and be living our optimal life.
And I think this helps you do that. This helps you find what really lights you up, what your passions are. I mean, sometimes for adults, we have to go back to when we were kids. What was lighting us up as a kid? What did we love to do that brings us forward? Because um, the essence of the mission, to help kids is to empower and support and guide their parents because they can grow up to be to have that model, because kids do as you do, not as you say.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that I always feel, and there's some who don't necessarily agree with me, and that's okay, but I always feel like every child out there has some level of brilliance. There's something brilliant about him or her, and that they can be amazing if they're given the right kind of support.
But they are amazing. They are amazing if we don't squash them down. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my take on it. This is
Mhm.
my heartfelt mission. We tend to blow their lights out, for one of a better thing. We tend to, we worry about their grades, we worry about them passing a test, we worry about them being growing up to be good people when they are good people. If with the guidance and with the mentorship and with the modeling that they have, they may not be what you want them to be. They may not turn
But
out,
it's not
but that's
what you
not
want them to be is irrelevant because this
it's
is their
irrelevant. It's
journey.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. But to have them on a journey where they can, as you said, shine their light and show their strengths is
Mhm, mhm. I
with any
feel
one of
as
them.
though if I had somebody like you in my life way, way back then, it would have perhaps pushed me to be here sooner than later. But also, everything that's happened has helped me to be who I am today. So it's all good. It's all great. People are watching along and they're thinking to themselves, oh my goodness, I'm a mom. I have kids. I would love to be a better parent. I can see how Mary can be helpful for me and my family. If people wanted to connect with you, you had mentioned they can get the worksheet. Can you say again how they can get the worksheet
Uh,
and then explain to folks how they can connect with you?
okay, so I mean, I had taken some time off from the business to be with my family, take care of my grandkids, and so now I'm getting back in it. So there's a whole big rebrand going on.
Mhm.
But we have hello@confidentfamilies.com for the worksheet, for the core worksheet, and I have a Facebook group, Confident Families, on Facebook.
Okay,
Yeah,
beautiful.
so
So
that's
folks
that's
can
that's the best way.
connect with you there.
And then in a stay tuned because the rebrand is coming out within the next couple of weeks, and I have some exciting programs that embody my mission. So I would love to share them with people.
Well, I will definitely have to have you back on the show and have you share about your rebrand and all the beautiful things that you're going to be doing. So, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about our recent spring retreat. So, for folks who are tuning in for the first time, our show is Grow Your Business Smarter and Live Your Optimal Life. Because what we know for sure is that a lot of women in business, we're in the hustle, we're in the struggle, we're in the grind, we're doing all the things. And we're so busy trying to make our businesses grow that sometimes that piece, that personal piece, that piece where we're actually stepping off the treadmill and actually enjoying the life that we're here to live, sometimes that gets kind of pushed by the wayside. And so at Ladies Power Lunch, we host these amazing retreats, and they are for the women with vision, the women in business who are the leaders, the healers, the coaches, the teachers, the speakers, the folks who are with their businesses supporting everybody else and giving of themselves. We have a retreat for those folks to support them. And so on our recent retreat, Mary had the opportunity to be a part of that. So Mary, we're a little bit different in how we do our retreats. A lot of people go to Arizona, people go to Italy for retreats. We have decided we like going on a retreat on a cruise because we like the next level premium cruise experience. We like the spa level accommodations. We like to be able to see beautiful places, experience beautiful things, have amazing opportunities for community, but also to be pampered a little bit and to be taken care of a little bit. So we partner with Celebrity Cruise Lines, and that's the cruise line that we use for our retreats. And you happen to be on our recent retreat. Tell us a little, I'm gonna ask you a little bit about your experience on the ship, just because some of our beautiful friends who would love to come on retreat with us have said, this is such an amazing retreat. You're focused on the things that we want to focus on, but you're having it on a cruise? I don't know. I don't know about that. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your experience and just really, really spontaneously and honestly, let me know what your thoughts are. So you were on the Celebrity Reflection cruise ship that went to the Bahamas, and we the Celebrity Reflection going to the Bahamas goes out of Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. So we fly into Fort Lauderdale from all places and we meet up there. Fort Lauderdale is my stomping ground. So I'm just curious, while you were in Fort Lauderdale, did you have an opportunity to enjoy the embarkation port at all?
We were there the night we got. I traveled with a friend, Marie, who was also on the cruise.
Mhm.
I want to say this was my first cruise. I had never been on a cruise
How
before,
did you feel about going on a
and
cruise
and
retreat?
I was I was excited but a little apprehensive. This was a birthday present for me. I had a major birthday into a new decade.
Happy birthday to you.
So we met the night before and got up early and went on the cruise. It was pretty seamless. I mean, I thought that there was going to be a lot of commotion outside the boat, and because I don't know, kind of like airports, but it wasn't. It was like one, two, three in. Um, it was lovely. The people there were nice. The people were very accommodating. The service on the cruise was beyond anything that I have ever experienced, and um I've been to some nice places, but this was for the customer service was amazing. I
Mhm,
thought
mhm.
from
How
the
was
from the beginning.
embarkation? You said it was really smooth getting on.
Seamless, yeah, seamless.
Mhm.
It was very well thought out and organized, and you just kind of walked in. They took your bags and you walked in, and then your bags appeared at your room.
I love that. And that's one of the things that we hope for our folks who are coming on retreat with us is that the moment they get into the cruise terminal, they'll sort of feel a little bit like just that relaxation of, yes, somebody's taken my bags. I am being checked in. I'm being taken care of. About how long did it take for you to go from the port side to actually getting on the ship itself? Was it long?
No, no, it wasn't long at all. I don't think it took 15 minutes.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think it took
that's
that long,
awesome.
15, 20 minutes. Yeah, we walked by. We had to wait to show our passports and our
Mhm.
boarding things, but other than that, it was very well organized. It was very well thought out.
I like that. I like that. And then when you got a chance to go to your room, what did you think of your room? How was that?
I thought it was, again, having never been, I expected something like Matchbox size, and it was very comfortable.
Mhm,
I wouldn't say it's a huge room, but it was very it wasn't cramped. And
mhm, mhm.
we had the terrace outside, and I got to sleep out on the terrace every night
I heard about that,
under the
and
stars, listening to the ocean. No bugs.
I have never done that. So
Oh,
one of the things that I know you can do is you can ask your room steward for additional bedding.
I didn't
And
think to do that.
I never ever thought of doing that. But you can be certain that on the next retreat, which is coming up by the
I highly recommend.
and if folks want to know more about that, they can go to growsmarternotharder.com/retreat. But on the next retreat, I'm going to be taking your advice, Mary, and I'm going to be at least one night sleeping out there
It was
on
just, I
that.
mean, the weather was perfect. The sea was
Mhm.
calm. You heard like the gentle ocean,
Oh my
and
goodness.
you saw the stars, and there were no bugs, and there was the hum of the ship's motor, but that was nice. That was like white noise. It was lovely.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the advantages of being in the room category that we select for our retreat is that it's called the spa level. It's the aqua class. And so you do have the opportunity to go to the spa and enjoy the thermal suite. Did you get a chance to do that at all?
I did go to the thermal suite. I did. What else did I do? I did attend a class there,
Hmm.
and I got some acupuncture.
Ooh, that's fun. That's fun. They have nice like yoga classes, fitness classes. They have the sauna, steam rooms. There's a snow, like a cold room,
It's a cold room. Yeah.
but it's the cold room's not for everyone. But I always feel like when I get out of the steam room and I'm really, really hot, it's the perfect time to go in and temperature equilibrate. So I like that. But you like this spa.
I did. I did.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit
I'm kind
about
of a spa girl though.
you are?
Yeah, I like spas. I do. I
Yeah,
like.
me too.
I'm not a camper. Although I did sleep outside. I'm not a camper. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression.
Well, I'm not a camper either, but this idea of sleeping under the stars in this controlled environment really, really appeals to me. So you can be certain that I'm going to be trying that. But I wanted to ask you about the food because one of the advantages of the spa level accommodations in that aqua class is that you have a specialty dining restaurant that's assigned to you, which is completely about healthy eating in a very delicious way. So you all had the opportunity to experience Blue. What did you think?
I thought it was excellent, and we had the same waiter, Michael, every day. It was really he was really attentive to us. Again, the food
Mhm,
was phenomenal. I thought at Blue, absolutely. I only ate at the food. I don't know if they don't call it a food court, but the food court. I only went there once
mhm.
because I thought Blue was grand. It was, and we have some nice restaurants in New York, and that rivaled any of them. It was at the top of its top notch.
I am glad you said that because a lot of the times I think folks don't recognize that when we talk about these specialty dining experiences, is that they're world class. They will rival an amazing, restaurant in some
By
of the
far, yeah,
better
absolutely.
cities, some of the most culinarily recognized cities. They're really, really outstanding experiences. Did you have a chance to go to any of the entertainment on the ship?
I did. We went to I'm not a casino person, but I stopped by just because it was there. But we saw two little shows. We saw the hypnotist, who I thought was phenomenal. That was a good show. And the captain actually put on a
Yes.
the captain actually put on a show. He could sang. He had a group. I guess they were shipmates. And he sang. He played the guitar. He played the drums. He was excellent. He was excellent.
Isn't that fun though?
It was. It was fun.
I love the way that they incorporate the officers into every bit of the the ship. It's almost like you feel like you're at home because you feel like you get to know the officers. I don't know if you saw the volleyball tournament with the officers versus the guests. That was pretty hilarious. Um, how about were you one of the folks who went on the dolphin excursion?
I did. I
Tell
did.
me about that.
Um, um, we apparently hit it right because there were pods of dolphins all over the place. Sometimes you only see one, and they come right up to the boat. You can't really swim with them. Like, that's not allowed anymore.
No, that's not safe for them.
But but then we went snorkeling, and the snorkeling was beautiful. It was
Mhm,
a reef there,
mhm.
and there were all sorts of fish, barracuda, stingrays. It was just yeah. That was one of my favorite experiences too. One of my favorite. Oh, it was one of my favorite experiences. The excursion was one of my favorite experiences. It was really nice.
That was one of my favorite
Oh,
experiences.
it was one of my
Sleeping under
favorite
the stars was one of my
experiences.
favorite experiences.
I guess I like the cruise. I guess I
How
like.
about when you went to, because we went to the the when we go to the retreat in the Bahamas, we generally go to the private island of Royal
Okay,
Caribbean, which is Coco Key. How did you like that?
that was very nice too. I spent most of the time in the water,
Hmm.
and and we had the cabana, which was grand.
Yes, we always like to get y'all
And
cabanas
and
because it elevates the experience a little
it
bit.
absolutely does. And although I saw him bring people, I didn't have anything. I was just in the water the entire time. You could swim out to the reef and do a little more snorkeling.
Hmm.
No, not a reef. It was a sunken boat. But it was very nice. It was very warm water. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Blue.
The saddest day on any retreat is the day when we have to come back. How did you find the disembarkation process? How was that?
Everyone was off the boat by 8 o'clock or 8:30, something like that in the morning.
Mhm.
It was again, they know what they're doing. They
It's
have
like
it
they've done it
all.
before, right?
Yeah, they know what they're doing. It runs smoothly, at least for us, it did.
Hmm.
And then we had the little shuttle right to the airport.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was again much more civil than airports these days.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. So, Mary, there are folks who are watching along and they might be on the fence a little bit about coming on retreat with us and thinking that maybe a cruise is not the right venue for this. Or they might never have been on a cruise before, like you mentioned this was your first cruise. What would you say to somebody who was kind of wavering about that?
Do it. There's nothing. There's no downside to it. There's no downside to it. You get taken care of. You have a nice room. You're treated like royalty, or above. I don't know what's above royalty, but you're treated. You cannot ask for
You're
better.
treated like a person.
Even more. I mean, like a very good,
Yeah.
like a VIP. I mean, the customer service was excellent, and
Mhm.
every step of the way.
And I
Um,
think that's important for folks who are spending their lives taking care of everybody else to have a moment where you are also supported.
very
That
well cared for.
that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Thank you
And
for sharing your experience. I appreciate that.
thank you for putting this together. And thank you, Marie, for inviting me.
Yes. I'm glad you came. And I want to say to folks who might be thinking, oh, it would be kind of nice to go on retreat. It's really, really easy. Just go to growsmarter.harder.com/retreat and you can get much more information about our next retreat, which is going to also be going to the Bahamas. But this time we're going to a different island. We're going to Bimini in October. So folks are invited to come join us. Before we wrap up, I like to share a few little tips at the end of each show. And today I wanted to talk a little bit, and I feel, Mary, like you're gonna really tune into this. I wanted to talk about how being on that hamster wheel of life is really preventing a lot of us from living our lives to the fullest, from living our best lives, from living our optimal lives. What do you think about that?
I think absolutely. And I think that when you're on the hamster wheel, it's because you're um, making important things that you don't really need to make important. Like you're clinging to minutia and comparison
Mm,
and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, what people are telling you should do. And if you could just take a moment to jump off and breathe and take some deep breaths and, and really again evaluate what's truly important to you. Um, your life will be easier.
yeah, I embrace that with both arms. So the topics that come up for the show tend to be things that I have conversation with people about, or just something that's clear and present for me. So what happened this weekend was because, and this ends up time stamping in a way that I don't want to, but what happened this weekend was we had all my kids' cousins get together at my in-laws and they're in the pool and they're having this great time. And my sister-in-law and a couple of her friends and my other sister-in-law and another friend and just a bunch of us as women, some of us women in small business, some of us, the pretty much the makeup of ladies power lunch. My sister-in-law, she is a corporate baby, and so we're sitting around talking and watching the kids and having a lovely time. And my sister-in-law says to me, I have something to tell you. I have left my job. And my sister-in-law is she is the one that we all would idolize because she does an amazing job at her job. She is outstanding. She's taking care of people. She works in healthcare. She's just doing things to support folks and she's at the top of her game and she's amazing. And she said, "Yep, I left my job because there is something else that I meant to do." And so this is why I feel like the conversation that we were having earlier about tuning into yourself and being true to you and not being very clear and not allowing all the outside influences to dictate the direction that you take. Because the first thing that maybe many people would have said to her would be,
Don't
"You
do it.
left your job." Oh,
What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?
but she is so clear that stepping off that hamster wheel is the right thing for her. And there's so many of us. It might be in a corporate situation, or it might even be in our own businesses where we're just on that hamster wheel all day long. And we wake up the next morning and we do it again.
Yeah.
And we wake up the next morning and we do it again. And before you know it, we're 5 years in, we're 10 years in, we're 15 years in, we're
And
20
miserable. Well,
years
it's not
in.
always miserable, but sometimes
But
and you do
maybe
it
not even miserable, but also not
not
living a
fulfilled.
brilliant life, not really, really enjoying our lives. And so I like I like solution. I like to I like to think of the show as a practical resource and that people can tune in and leave with something that they can go and use in their lives. And so I think that stepping off the hamster wheel of life really requires for us to get back to basics. And those four principles of live your optimal life is where we start with that. So I would say the first step is to start to look at life balance. And when I talk about life balance, Mary, you know that it's not just,
It's
oh, go
not,
to the
it's not
spa
this,
or and it's not this. Life
it's this.
balance has to do with everything that has to do with you as a person.
Yeah, I like to think of it as a pizza. It's round. You can
It's
cut,
about you.
yeah, you can
What
cut
is your
it.
relationship like with yourself? And if you're looking at this hamster wheel that you're on every single day and it's not fitting in with the relationship that you want to have with yourself, this is a perfect time to start asking yourself these questions. Am I in overwhelm? Am I in burnout? Am I really taking care of my self-care? Is my stress level too high? Am I still being in that pure positive place that I want to be? And just really asking some really serious questions, I think can be the first step to stepping off that hamster wheel. I think the second step is to look at our compassionate boundaries. And when I talk about boundaries, I'm not just talking about saying yes and saying no, but I'm talking about everything that has to do with your relationship between yourself and other people. Like, what is it that is how are your boundaries being held? Are you being consistent? Are your boundaries sustainable? Are you able to, one of my dear ladies power lunch friends likes to say no more often so you can say yes more fully. Are you overdoing? Are you overgiving? And is that pushing you into overwhelm? The next piece is some people call it appreciating the beauty of life. Some people call it being in gratitude. Some people refer to it as enjoyment. But one of the things that we, as moms sitting by the pool watching our little kids, we're thinking about is that sometimes when we get into our work day, when we get into our work lives, we kind of forget about the fun. Do you see it a lot with the parents that you work with?
I do. I mean, part of where they get so caught up in, let's call it negativity
Mhm.
about themselves, about others, is because they're not seeing the joy anymore. They've lost the joy of it. You're looking at everything that's not and nothing that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say one of the great places to start is start by going back to figuring out what is it that you like? What is fun? What fills you up? What are and I'm sure that this happens also with some of the parents that you work with. You end up so busy taking care of kids and taking care of everything that some of your connections and relationships that would nurture you kind of get by the waist. Do you see this
I see,
happening there?
yeah, or they go after, again, they're in that negative mode. They go after the people that are kind of the relationships that are pushing them down instead of building them up. You have to find your crew. You have to find your crew that's going to build you up. But because otherwise, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing in life, you need to surround yourself with people that appreciate you and that build you up, not
I
that knock
love
you
that.
down.
Find the people who appreciate you and build you up. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then the last piece dovetails so beautifully with what you were talking about earlier with finding your core values. I call it living each day fulfilled. And it's really inviting us to imagine we're let's face it, for most of us who are watching this show, our problems are first world problems, right? But there still is even better that our lives could be. And are we just okay with being okay? Or are we appreciating that there's an opportunity for our lives to be more, for us to actually live our optimal life? And what would that look like? And if we're in that space where we're living our optimal life, doesn't that mean that we're going to be able to be even brighter and more brilliant for the people that we serve?
Absolutely. We can appreciate what we have and still want more or still want better. It's not an either or, it's an and.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not an
Yes,
either or, it's an and. You totally appreciate what you have and want something else, want more.
it's okay to want more.
It's
There's nothing that says that that's it, that's the ceiling. you can't go any further than that. I had the opportunity to I like to sometimes watch science things on TV with my kids, and I saw something that absolutely made me think the other day. I was sitting with my kids, we were watching, I want to say it was maybe 60 Minutes or something like that, and there was a show with this man who he's made a 3D printer that's going to print the landing pad for the mission to the moon. And my question to you, Mary, is if this guy, oh, and also he builds houses for homeless people, right? If this guy had gotten up one day and he said, you know what? My life is pretty okay. I'm just going to stay in this okay space. Then all those millions of homeless people who he's helped so far and who he's going to help in the future, they wouldn't have been helped. And this mission to the moon and maybe to Mars and maybe beyond, that would not have been helped by his ideas. So there is a reason. Like you can't, how dare you stay stuck on your hamster wheel? You can't stay there because that's not helping you and it's not helping the world to be a better place.
Yeah, and if you get off and again try something out and fall on your face, it doesn't mean you can't pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and start all over again. It's not gonna, it may not work out the first time or the second time, but if it's something that fills you, you keep going.
I love that you said that because a lot of us, especially in this era of social media and everything being so instant, we see a lot of people's day 100 on our day one. And we look at what they're doing and we're like, oh my gosh, they're doing so great. And we might try something and it might not succeed in the same bright, shining way that you've seen on social media. And it might cause you to feel a little bit like you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And so I love your encouragement to folks to not give up.
If we
To,
can instill that in kids at a young
yeah,
age.
I think that's amazing. I need for you to come talk to my son because he's an athlete and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose and sometimes he can be a little bit hard on himself when he loses, but
Yeah, yeah, it's
you keep
the aim for
going.
perfection, the goal, just the goal is improvement. The goal is not to necessarily be the best because there's always going to be someone who comes along who's better, but to do your best. And if you do
Do
your best, no
yes.
matter the outcome,
Mhm.
you did your best. And if you see something that you need to tweak or work a little bit more on, that's fine, but don't beat yourself up. You did your best.
I love that. And I think that's a perfect way to leave it. Keep trying and always do your best. At the end of every show, Mary, I like to pull a card. And today, I've been for the past few episodes pulling a card from the Alana Fairchild Love Your Inner Goddess deck. And this one says, on your own terms. I love it. I love it. It feels like it's perfect for what we've been talking about. She waited a really long time to be saved until one day she decided to save herself. It was a good day. I love that. Let me see if there are any additional words of wisdom for us from today's card. So for those of you who do have this deck, it's Alana Fairchild's Love Your Inner Goddess, and it's card number 35. And it says, you're not the person you once were, you know it, but others might not always be ready to let the old you go so easily. Do not allow yourself to be shoved back into patterns of behavior that are not true to who you are now. Go and do the core values evaluation from Mary.
That's
You,
perfect.
it's perfect. You've worked hard to grow and become the new self. Believe that she is more than the old you, even if she is less familiar to others and maybe even to you at this stage. All that will change, and what is new now will become familiar and easy for you to sustain in the near future. Be stubborn in a good way while you and others around you come to realize that the new you is the real you. This
Nice.
has been an amazing conversation, Mary. You are a joy to chat with, and I can't wait to have you back on the show again. I invite folks to be sure to connect with Mary. Mary, can you say again how folks can connect with you?
They can go to Facebook, Confident Families, um, Mary Kerwin Coaching, Confident Families, or yeah, I'm not sure which one it is. It's Confident Families, but I don't know if they put something else there. And or they can email me at hello@confidentfamilies.com.
Excellent. Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, I want to invite everybody to join us for our Ladies Power Lunch fall retreat. It's going to be October 21st. We're going to the Bahamas. And like Mary said, it's a wonderful experience on Celebrity Cruise Lines. It's a premium cruise line. We have a premium experience. It's an opportunity for women who are supporting others to be supported. So just go to growsmarter.harder.com/retreat and you can get more information about
And I'll
that.
just add one thing to that. The
Yes,
women who are on the retreat with you are phenomenal. You're
yes,
surrounding
ma'am.
yourself with supportive and accomplished and supportive women.
Beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks everybody for watching along. This has been just outstanding. Thank you, Mary, for being our
Thank
special
you.
guest today. And I'll see you all on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.